about that, Sooner fans? To Oklahoma and Tulsa. After a game against big bad Tennessee with a big bad defense, now Oklahoma knows that they can at least play with some of the better defenses like some TCUs and some of the other teams. Now they see if they can play offensively with some teams like Tulsa, who signed on with Philip Montgomery and got the offensive genius from Baylor. The offensive coordinator there from Baylor. Of course, we all know Art Briles kind of runs the show out there, but as far as offensive numbers, Philip Montgomery holds on to no other. And 11 a.m., we'll see if the Sooner defense can do it again. Plus, we'll welcome back some Sooner legends to Owen Field. Preview for Oklahoma and Tulsa coming up next. Don't miss a beat. Welcome back to the preview show. My name is Harry James, and we will now welcome our team that has stepped into the vaunted SEC Nation in Knoxville and knocked them off. Now they're home again, and you can help them celebrate. Not only that, but it is Bob's 100th home game. With it being a home game, of course, we'll be playing on Owen Field, where the University of Tulsa will be at the University of Oklahoma. The weather will be pretty decent in the lower to high 70s, low 80s. Very nice weather. The rain weather is supposed to move on out by the mid-afternoon, early to mid-afternoon, which is 11 a.m. kickoff time. The Sooner legend that will be doing the autographs on campus corner is the little guy, number 22, Roy Finch. Now was part of the New England Patriots practice squad. He was part of the Sooner squad from 2010 to 2013. He had 1,412 yards on the ground to go with 442 yards receiving and 1,099 yards kickoff return. His longest run was 55 yards. His longest reception was 47 yards. And, of course, everybody remembers the big kickoff return for 100 yards against Kansas a week before Notre Dame, the last Big 12 championship season for Oklahoma. He will be at the stop that is normally right there, pretty close to O'Connell's Irish Pub. It'll be right there. He'll be right there. You'll see the tent, and you could go get your autograph for tomorrow. The game will be on Fox Sports 1. Again, it'll be at 11 o'clock. The Sooner radio team, my good friend Toby Rowland, will be on the call, along with Merv Johnson. And on the sidelines for the Sooner radio broadcast will be Soonersports.com contributor Chris Plank, along with TV radio hosts Teddy Lehman from Sports Talk 1400 and Rufus Alexander from the franchise in Oklahoma City. The TV side of things, play-by-play man will be Tim Brando for Fox Sports 1. The color analyst, here is another one of those Sooner legends, Spencer Tillman returns to OU country, as he'll be on the TV broadcast for color, and Bruce Feldman will be on the sidelines for this game between Oklahoma and Tulsa. Something interesting about this game, Oklahoma has played the last 3 seasons against Tulsa, as has Dominique Alexander and his brother, who is a defensive end for Tulsa, and their dad actually played for Oklahoma State in the mid to late 80s. As far as our Alexander, Dom Alexander, last year, Oklahoma, they averaged 36.4 points per ball game, which was 37th in the nation. They averaged 464.7 yards per game last year, which is 41st in the nation. And they allowed 25.9 points per ball game, which was 110th last year. Defensively, they did allow 382.6 yards per ball game, which was 111th in the nation. The Oklahoma Sooners are led by Bob Stoops in his 16th year at Oklahoma. He spent all 16 years here at OU. At OU, he's got 168 wins to go with 44 losses, which is an .802 winning percentage. 8-5 last year, finished 4th in the conference, but behind Baylor, TCU, Kansas State. The next echelon did tie with Texas and West Virginia. AAC, the American Athletic Conference, that's where Tulsa's at. Oklahoma actually has a 8-2 record against the AAC in 42 games. It all started against these Tulsa Golden Hurricanes in 1914 with a 26-7 win over Tulsa in Tulsa. Again, they played in Tulsa the next year, 2015. They won 14-3. They then played Tulane in Norman, got a 16-0 win there, or lost there actually. Came back and beat Tulsa in 1917, crushed Tulsa 80-0. Before a meeting again in 1919 with Tulsa at home, 27-0 win for the Sooners. In 1925, they met with SMU and got a 9-0 win there. In 1931, they did go back to Tulsa and came away with a win, 20-7. They then finished the home and home with Tulsa in 1932 and got a 7-0 win in Norman. Started another home and home in 1933, lost 20-6 to Tulsa in 1933 in Tulsa, but came home and did tie them the next year in 1936, 0-0. 1937 played them again and had a 19-7 loss to Tulsa in Tulsa. 1938 they played Tulane, 28-6 win over them in Norman. Played SMU in Norman in 1939, 7-7 tie there, before losing to Temple in 1940 in Norman, 9-6. At Tulane, got a 23-0 win out there in 1942. Also in 1942, played Tulsa in Tulsa and got a 23-0 win there. 1943, they played Tulsa in Oklahoma City and lost 20-6. 1968, came away with a Blue Bonnet Bowl loss to SMU, 28-27. Then in 1970, they played SMU again. Actually, this time beating SMU in Dallas at SMU, 28-11. They played them in Norman the next year in 1971, finishing the home and home. They're getting a big 30-0 win there. In 1939, they played Tulsa again and got a 49-13 win there. In 1981, they played Houston in the Sun Bowl and got a 40-14 win in Texas doing that. In 1983 again, they played Tulsa and got a 28-18 win there before playing SMU in 1985 in Norman, 35-13 win there. In 1987, they headed back up the turnpike to Tulsa and got a big 60-0 win up in T-Town in Norman again in 1990. Tulsa got them. Oklahoma won the game 52-10. Played Tulsa again in 1993, a 41-20 win there. In 1995, SMU and Oklahoma met in Norman, 24-10 win there in Norman. They did play Tulsa in 1996 and lost that one in Norman, 31-24. That's the one that really Tulsa fans kind of hold their helmet to. Then came the Stoops time. Starting in 2001, the rivalry started up again with Tulsa. In Tulsa, in Norman actually, they won this one in 2001, 58-0. In 2002, University of South Florida was welcomed to Norman, Oklahoma. Got a big win there, 31-14. 2002, smashed Tulsa pretty good in Tulsa, 37-0. 2004, they played Houston and got a 63-13 win there. Of course, later played Tulsa again in Norman. Got a big 42-20 win there in 2005. In 2008, got a 52-26 win over Cincinnati. Played Tulsa in a 2007 62-21 win there. Shut out Tulsa the next time around in 2009, 40-0. That same year, actually a couple years later in 2011, Oklahoma played University of Connecticut in the Fiesta Bowl for the BCS. 48-20 win there by Oklahoma. In 2010, they played Cincinnati again in Cincinnati. Actually, it was in Paul Brown Stadium, home of the Bengals, and got a big 2-point win there. Or actually 3 points, 32-29. And then in 2011, they played Tulsa again. Got a big 47-14 win there. 2013, they beat Tulsa 51-20. And then finally, they beat Tulsa again in Tulsa last year, 52-7. In 2013, Oklahoma was invited to the Russell Athletic Bowl. Well, where they played number 18 Clemson, but lost that one 40-6. That evened Bob's record at 508-8 in 16 years. Conference and divisional titles under Stoops. Of course, 2000, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, and 2012. Tulsa now. Tulsa last year averaged 24.7 yards per ball game. That averaged 272nd last year. Yards per ball game, they were at 412.5, which was 98th last year. Points allowed per ball game, 39.3, which was 238th in the nation. And yards allowed per ball game was 486.8, which was 274th in the nation. Record against Big 12 opponents, it's 62, 113, and 3. But it's a new era under Philip Montgomery in his first year, 2015. In 2014, last year, they went 2-10, 2-6 in the AAC. And then, of course, as we said, against Big 12 teams, the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes are 62, 113, and 3. That is 178 games against all Big 12 opponents. And since Stoops arrived in 1999, the Hurricanes have gone 1-19 against Big 12 opponents. Going back in the Tulsa history against Big 12 teams, they played Oklahoma State. They actually played Oklahoma. Lost that one in 1917. Lost was 80-0 in Norman. They did beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater in 1917 that same year, 41-2. Then in 1933, they played Kansas and got a big 7-0 win there. 1933, they played Oklahoma, and they actually won that one, 20-6. But they did lose to Oklahoma State in in Tulsa, 7-0. They then played Kansas again, got the big time win there, 7-0. Played TCU, actually lost that one by 2 points, 14-12. 1934 played Oklahoma State and Kansas State, won both of those matchups. Oklahoma State and Tulsa 19-0, and Kansas State in Tulsa 21-0. They 1935 they beat TCU 13-0. They tied with TCU 13-13. In 1935, Oklahoma State, they got them in a big time win for them, 12-0 for Tulsa. Beat TCU 10-7. They beat Kansas State 10-7. They tied with us, Oklahoma, 0-0. In 1937, they played both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and TCU, all three of them. Oklahoma State, they got the win, 27-0. Oklahoma, they got the win, 19-7, and TCU they did, however, lose that one, 20-13. 1938, they met Oklahoma and Oklahoma State again. They lost to Oklahoma, 28-6, but they did win against Oklahoma State in 20-7 that same year, 1938. Also lost to TCU in 1938, 21-0. For the 1939 season, Oklahoma State and TCU, they beat Oklahoma State 9-7 in Tulsa, but then in Fort Worth, TCU got them 16-0. 1940, they played Baylor, lost that one 20-6. They then in 1940, they also played TCU, got that one win 7-0. They played Oklahoma State and won that one 19-6. They did play Baylor later in that 1941. Got that one 20-3 win. Then went to Fort Worth and but lost that one 6-0. 1941 also they played Oklahoma State and got the big time win there 16-0. 1942 Baylor in Waco. In 1942 got the big time win there 24-0. They did beat Texas Tech in the Sun Bowl 6-0. They then beat Oklahoma in Oklahoma City 20-6 in 1942. Also in 42 they took care of Oklahoma State in Tulsa 34-6. 1943 they went up the road to Norman, got a 23-0 hammer there. 1943 also they played Texas Tech in Tulsa. Got the win there also 34-7. 1943 also Oklahoma got the big time win there 23-0. 1943 also was the year that they did also beat Oklahoma State that year, 55-6 in Tulsa. Got a big time win in Tulsa in 1944 against Kansas, 27-0. Got a big time win against Oklahoma State in Tulsa, 46-40. They beat Texas Tech in Tulsa in 1944 also, 34-7. 1945 they went up down to Waco and lost that one 26-7. In 1945 they went to Lubbock also, lost that one 18-7. In 1945 they played Oklahoma State and lost 12-6. They did in 1946 then play Baylor again in Tulsa this time, 17-0 win there. They then played Oklahoma State and got a big 2-point win there in Tulsa, 20-18. Then 21-6 win over Texas Tech in Tulsa in 1946. And then also shut out Kansas in 1946, 56-0 in Tulsa. Then we move along to 14-14 tie with Oklahoma State in 1956. That was a big time tie for them in 56. 57 they played Texas Tech in Tech. Tulsa got the win there, 10-7 in Tulsa. In Stillwater in 1957, 28-13 win there. They did end up playing Lubbock that same year in 1957. 3-0 win for Texas Tech down there. 1958 played Oklahoma State and Texas Tech out there also, both games in Stillwater. 24-16 win over to Oklahoma State and a 97 win over Texas Tech. 1959 in Stillwater and in Lubbock, 26-0 loss to Oklahoma State and a 8-7 loss to Texas Tech. 1960 they played Oklahoma State, 28-7 loss in Stillwater in Tulsa town. Also lost to Tulsa. Also lost to Iowa State, 27-6 that year. 61 also. 61 they bounced another loss to Oklahoma State, 26-0. They lost to Oklahoma State again in 62, 17-0 or 17-7. Lost again to Oklahoma State, 33-24. 74 they finally beat the Cowboys, 61-14 there. 65 they played Oklahoma State again, 17-14 lost there though. In 71 they played Kansas State and got a big 19-10 loss handed to them. 72 they played them in Tulsa again. Did Tulsa and Kansas State, 21-13 loss there. In 72 they played Texas Tech in Lubbock, but they beat them. They lost to them actually, 35-18. They then played TCU again in 72 and lost that one 15-9. In 73 Kansas State lost to them 20-1. Wow. 74 played Kansas State in Tulsa, lost it 1-14. Lost again to Kansas State in Tulsa, 16-7. They did lose again, 76. They played them on the road at they actually played Oklahoma State on the road in 76. Lost it 33-21. 74, they played Oklahoma State. Lost that one 78. They played Kansas State. Sorry, they did play Kansas State that year. They won 34-14. Sorry about that. In 79, they played again and got a -6 win over them. TCU was in Tulsa the next time around. They lost that one 24-17 in 79. Also in 79, they lost to Oklahoma in Norman 49-13. Now we go to the 1980s. In the 1980s, Tulsa played Kansas State in Tulsa. 3-0 win there. They played in Fort Worth against TCU. Won a 23-17 win there. In 81, they played Oklahoma State and actually got them 35-21 in Tulsa. They then, in Stillwater in 82, they played Oklahoma State and got a big 23-21 loss there. They played Kansas in 81, got a big 11-15 loss there. 82, they played Oklahoma State with a 25-15 win out there against Kansas. They got them 20-15 also. They then played Oklahoma in Norman and lost it in 83, 28-18. They then played Texas Tech in 1983 and they lost it in Lubbock. Or actually, they won in Lubbock 59-20. Then in 1983 against Oklahoma State, they lost at 9-0. They then lost to Oklahoma State again in 84, 31-7. 84, they also played in Lubbock and lost 20-17. In 85, they played in Stillwater and lost 25-13 to Oklahoma State. They then played Texas Tech in Tulsa, but they did end up losing that one also, 21-17. They then played Oklahoma State in back-to-back years in 86 and 87. In 86, Oklahoma State, actually, they beat them most times. Tulsa won in Stillwater in 86, 23-17. And then in 87, they lost to them in Stillwater 28 39 to 28. 87, they also played Kansas State. They won a big 35 to 21 win there. In 87, they also lost to Texas Tech 42 to 7, and they lost to Oklahoma 65 to nothing. In 1988, Kansas State, they played them in Tulsa and got a big 35 to 9 win there before heading on the road to Oklahoma State in 88 and losing 56 to 35 in Stillwater. In 89, guy got back at him though, 20 to 10 win in Tulsa. 1990s now, Oklahoma in Norman, 52 to 10 loss. They then lost to Tulsa or to Oklahoma State 10 to 3. 91, they lost to Kansas in Lawrence 23-17. 91, they did beat Oklahoma State in Tulsa 31-7. They beat Kansas in 92. They lost to Kansas in 92 in Tulsa 40 to 7. And Oklahoma State in 92, 24-19. In 93, they played our Sooners again and lost 41 to 10. 1993, they lost 10 to 6 to Oklahoma State. They lost again to Oklahoma State in 94 in a home and home in Stillwater, 17 to 10. They then lost to Baylor, 35 to 7 in 95. Also in 95, let's see, Oklahoma State, they nail-bited them, but they did get the win, 24-23. 1996, TCU and Tulsa in Tulsa. In 96, lost 31-24. At Oklahoma, of course, the big-time win there. 97, TCU. At TCU, got the win out there, 33 to 22. 1998 beat Oklahoma State and Tulsa 15 to 20. Tulsa then beat TCU in Tulsa, lost to there actually 17 to 7. 1988 they played West Virginia in Morgantown and lost 44 to 21. They then lost a 46 to 9 win at Oklahoma State in 99. Also 99, lost to TCU 56 to 17. 2000, TCU and played Oklahoma State and TCU both games in Tulsa, lost them both. 36-26 to Oklahoma State and 17-3 against TCU. 2001 in Norman, 58-0 win, lost there. Then a loss to Oklahoma again in Tulsa this time, 37-0. They then lost to Baylor, 27-25 in 2002 also. 2002 also they played Kansas, lost 43-33. They also played Kansas in 2004 and lost that one 21-3. They also played at Oklahoma State that year, lost 38-21. They lost to Oklahoma 31-15 in 05. 07 they played Oklahoma again, lost 65-21. 2009 they played Oklahoma in Norman, lost 45-0. Oklahoma State, they played them in Stillwater in 2010. Lost that one 65-28. 2011 they played in Norman at Oklahoma. They lost 47-17. 2011 they also played Oklahoma State in Tulsa. They lost that one 49-33. 2012 they lost 23-28 in Ames. But they got back at them in the Liberty Bowl in 2012. Got a big 31-17 win there over Iowa State. Played them again in 2013. Lost that one by a field goal in Tulsa, 38-21. They then again, 2013, they played Oklahoma in Norman, lost 51-20. And then last year lost that one. I believe that one's Oklahoma State. And then last year lost to Oklahoma 52-7 in Tulsa. That was quite a gauntlet of games that they've played, guys. But they're gonna get better. No bowl game last year for Tulsa, of course, finishing, as we remember, finishing 2-6. But they did play East Carolina, the same team that Lincoln Riley used to play after, and they lost that one 32-49 to East Carolina. Bowl record 0-0 for Philip Montgomery in his first year. Finally, conference or divisional titles in Conference USA. They have a couple of them since Stoops has been at Oklahoma. They won a couple of them, 05, 07, 08, 2010, and 2012. All right, guys. That was quite a long preview there. Sorry for the long preview, but probably because of the distance that Tulsa has with a lot of the Big 12 schools, probably why that's coming around. Again, sorry about the longer video. Thought you guys might want to know that. Hope to see everybody out tomorrow. As far as I know, tickets were still available, but that was yesterday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's go all out and support Bob's 100th home game. For myself, Harry James Taylor, this has been Boomer Sooner 1982. Thanks for watching, everybody, and Boomer Sooner!